Hey everyone, this is my first video on the channel. My name is Hansel, and these are my cars. Now, a little backstory on each one of my cars. This is my 94 Pontiac Firebird Formula. Comes with the LT1 5.7 liter V8, same engine that's in the C4 Corvettes. I've owned this car for about 4 years now. Daily drove it. She's needs a lot of work. I try to take care of her as best as I can. And just learning off of her. My first car was actually a 95 Pontiac Trans Am in lime green. I love that car, but unfortunately I had to give it away. And this is my 21 Mazda Miata Grand Touring. Just got this thing about 2 months ago. It is mounted with the 6-speed manual transmission, super clean interior. It's really nice. This is the nicest thing I've owned. I thought these things were Target tops, which they're not. They're actual convertibles. But this is my daily now. She's a bit dirty. This behemoth is my 2004 Silverado 2500 HD. And it comes with the Big Mama, the 8.1 liter big block Vortec engine. She can haul ass. She is a gas guzzler, and she's mounted with a 5-speed automatic. Now this engine, if you can see, has been done before by me. The original engine, which is over here, I'll show you real quick. Blue. Head gasket went out, dumped a bunch of coolant into one of the cylinders, and bent everything and just destroyed itself. The cylinder walls on that is done. Completely done. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. It's gouged in and it's ruined. There's no saving this. I don't know why I've kept it, but thank God I did, because now I'm going to need it. This is the head it came off of. This is the driver's side. Destroyed the valve. Destroyed the head inside. I don't know if you can see it. It's done. So our plan for this video and this car, or truck I should say, is to rip this bad boy and swap over the crankshaft. That's why I got two of these bad boys. Like I said, I did rebuild that engine. That engine came out of a 2002 Suburban. I was surprised too when I heard these engines came in Suburbans. A lot of people don't know much about these engines. They do have lifter issues, but obviously if you keep up with maintenance, you can avoid them. Also, they do like to consume oil. This engine has been redone, heads, valves, everything. All new gasket seals, everything. But unfortunately, it spun a bearing. So now we have to rip this guy out and swap over the crankshaft. I've also had issue with this truck where I had to start it by jumping the starter fuse, which is this guy right here, to the negative terminal on the battery with this wire. I had it routed inside so I didn't have to open and close the hood every time I had to take this car. This car was running perfectly fine for about 3 months. But when the day I bought it, the very next day it's when it took a shit. And I knew when I was buying this truck it had issues. It had lifter issues. I didn't know it had a head issue. That's my own damn fault, but it is what it is. And that's why today I'm going to rip that guy apart. Now, fortunately enough, GM made it super easy to where the front end on this car can be taken apart super easily, and with the headlights it's literally not even bolted in. It's this little guy right here, pull back on it. Obviously you got to take this off. The grill, everything on this front clip is super easy, and you can take out the engine from the front with no issues. We'll come over here and just grab this guy right here and just pop off these clips real quick. Super easy stuff, nothing crazy right now. And now that you got all 7 of those clips off, this thing just pops right off. You can set it to the side. And now we can get to these clips right here for the grill, and obviously pop off these headlights. These are aftermarket, so these are a little tight, but it still works. Now what you can do is for these is just get something that can pinch down on these so you don't break the plastic, because it's an older GM, and older vehicles in general, you know, all the plastic breaks like it's nothing. So we're just gonna come over here, grab a long flathead, put that there for now, and then get some pliers. Now you're gonna grab your pliers and just go right back here and just squeeze this guy. It's kind of hard with one hand. Just pull it off. Make sure it doesn't clip back on, and then go over here on the other side, do the same thing. Boom. Now these 2 top parts are loose. There are 6 clips on this grill. There's 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom, and then 1 on each side. The tab down here is already broken, so we're going to grab our long flathead and just right here in this corner, just try to pinch on it and pry it out. Now that this side is loose, I'm going to show you real quick on this side what you do to pop this guy out. Just put your hand right here and just really quickly try to pull it. It's free. We put that on the side over there. We just get to pulling on these, and just easily these things come right out. That's all they're being held in by. Just pop this off, twist this guy off, and then boom, cat eye off. Alrighty, same thing with this, but this one, actually this has a little tab just right here. Alright, just put your finger on, squeeze back, and it will pop right off. It's kind of hard to do this with one hand, so I'll finish off taking off the front end apart, and I'll show you what we're left. And now to take the bumper off, super easy. 2 bolts there, 2 bolts there. Come around here, and there's 1 bolt right there, is this bracket. Take that guy off on each side, and bumper comes right off. Super easy. We'll do that real quick. Now that that's off, good practice to do when you're working on cars is always put the hardware back. That way you don't lose it and you know where it goes. Now to take this front piece off, this bar is connected by 3 bolts under here. Once you take off this trim, obviously like I said, put the hardware back. These lines, super easy to remove. For all these hose lines, you remove this plastic right here. Let's see, where's the, just there you go. And then you see this little C-clip right here with the little pick. Pry this out, comes right off, nice and easy. And you pull on this and it comes right off. Obviously some fluid's gonna come out, you know, be prepared for that. You don't want to make a mess. Hoses, super easy clamps, you know, obviously. Bolt here, bolt there, and some other hardware. And this whole assembly comes off as one unit, nice and easy. And I'm not gonna bore you with this, so I'm just gonna do it myself and obviously show you where everything comes off from. We'll be right back. Now I just pulled off this radiator and the whole assembly super easy. It's just 2 bolts here, 2 bolts there. There's 3 bolts under here. And there's 3 bolts under here, which is right there on each side. And then remove all the oil cooling clips. Pop, pop. And your hose. And this pops right off. We can move this guy over here. Lay it down. And then I already took off a couple stuff like a compressor and the belt. And this accessory here with this bracket with the alternator and the power steering. All we gotta do now is just remove all the wiring, the torque converter bolts, starter, remove the exhaust, and the bell housing bolts, and this thing comes right out easy. Alright, we'll go ahead and remove the intake manifold. There's 12 bolts that I already loosened. We'll just remove this just so we can have more room to work on back there, and also to put the chain for the cherry picker to pull this engine out. So we'll go ahead and do that. Everything on this engine is freaking heavy. We went ahead and took off the intake manifold. Pretty clean in here in the engine. New gaskets, like I said. Here's this big guy. Pretty heavy. It's like 30-40 pounds. Everything on this engine is pretty heavy. And now that that's out of the way, we can climb in here, and now we have access to our bell housing bolts. Here's your ground, which goes right here behind the cylinder head. Here's a couple more. We'll be using these to put the chain on to pull this bad boy out. Now underneath the truck, here are your bell housing bolts and your starters right here. Once we take off the starter, it'll allow us to get to the torque converter bolts. By the way, look at this 5-speed automatic transmission, and it comes with its own oil filter. Here's the engines. Very strange. But we'll go ahead and do that. Take off those bell housing bolts and the starter. We're under here with our impact. We'll just put this 15 on that bell housing bolt. Pop that guy right off. And then go for this higher one right here. If we can get it. There it is. Alrighty, we just went ahead and took off the exhaust manifold bolts, the motor mounts bolts, torque converter bolts that are right there, which the starter goes right here too. It's right there. The bell housing bolts are also off. All the wiring's disconnected. This thing's ready to rock and roll. Here is the chain, which is put this bolt right here. There we go. Doesn't need to be crazy tight. It just needs to be mounted up. Just drop this guy for a second. Put this on right here. We gotta get all this stuff out of the way so we can get this cherry picker out. I'll go do that real quick. Alrighty, we got the engine on the engine stand. We took off the oil pan there, and there was a bunch of metal shavings all along the bottom of this, which I already cleaned out. Our plan for this is, since this spun a bearing, we're going to be swapping over this crankshaft to that motor. This already got timed, so all we have to do is do the same thing to that. We got to remove all this front end stuff so we can get to the timing chain. Right here, there was issues with this motor when I put it in. It wasn't starting. I think it's probably because I might have missed something with the camshaft, because I got new sensors, as you can see, even though this one is dirty. I don't know if you can see it. Ooh, right there, yeah. I swapped out like 2 or 3 different sensors. I even went back here, swap out this one. Still didn't want to start. So I had to jump it through the starter relay to get me places. So we're going to find out what's going on with that as we start taking this apart. Alrighty, so we're going to be taking apart the whole front end on this. We got to get to the timing chain cover, which means we got to get rid of the water pump, the fan, the harmonic balancer, just to get access to it, because we are going to need to go in there and see what type of differences there are between the 04 and the 02. Because on the car, when I scanned it, it wasn't picking up the cam position sensor or the crank position sensor, one of the two. But like I said, I did replace both of those, but we need to access it to remove and replace the crankshaft. Now, I just did something that I've never seen anybody else do before. It's lazy and it's probably frowned upon, but I managed to take out the crankshaft and leave the pistons in. As you can see, I took all the caps off in the order that they came out. Same with these guys. We're gonna be putting this guy in here because, as you can see, let's see, this guy right here for some reason just decided to go, and it was only that one. And I got a brand new oil pump in it, so, and it was getting plenty of pressure, but I don't know why that one just decided to go. But we're gonna clean this one up real nice. This is top dead center right here. These engines are super easy to time because of the little dot that's right there. And these are the camshaft timing gear, and here's your dot right there. But yeah, it was already annoying trying to get this thing out, so we're gonna have to slowly maneuver it and get her in there nice and snug. Make sure there's nothing wrong with the caps, replace them if need be. But this, I don't know, I've never seen anybody else do it. I'm sure it'll figure out and work because, you know, it's factory and all the tolerances are really closely similar. I don't know, I'm sure it's gonna work out. And if it doesn't, then I'm probably gonna have to save up and buy a long block for this. Alright, I just took the crankshaft out, and these are way better than that engine. And then you can tell over here too that this one has gotten more frequent oil changes than this one has. And this one is just, it's just nasty motor. But we're going to be using all of these caps on that motor. We're not going to be using those because I'm pretty sure these are suited for this block and those for that block. But we are going to swap all these out and put it in that one. Alright, so I'm going to end up cleaning this up real nice. In the next video, we're going to put it all back together and hopefully throw it back in the truck and get this thing running as soon as possible. And just pray it doesn't blow up because of the shenanigans I'm doing. Because I've never seen anybody, you know, remove the crankshaft without removing the heads and leaving the pistons in. New meta, saving time, new meta. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it up, I'm gonna clean this up, and I'll see you guys in the next video.